I want to welcome everybody that is joining this live session of Partial Credit Podcast. My name is Risa Bennett. I'm the Program Manager for Education and Outreach at Pear Deck, and we are so excited to be rounding out this three-part series of the podcast focused on Pear Deck with this live event. The guys will be walking us through our latest feature, Add Audio in Pear Deck, and at the end we'll have time for questions, including but not limited to what is Jesse's favorite Peloton workout. So without further ado, guys, let's take it away.
So Donnie, here we go. So we are, just if you're not familiar with our podcast, we are the co-hosts of the Partial Credit Podcast. It's an educational podcast on the Education Podcast Network where we talk about education, shenanigans, and popular culture. So it's a little bit of a mix of everything. Every week we have on different guests. You'll notice as you go through the slides, we have some nice music built in. So since this is a special episode, we have some special episode music.
Yes,
Donnie,
we do.
Play?
Assuming Donnie could
we won't
do
play
it.
till we're gonna save it till later.
Okay, so you'll get your special episode music later. I think you'll know it when you hear it.
Yeah.
But if you go to the next slide, if you follow us, not only do we have a lot of content out there, but we also have a bunch of fans who like to put together different memes of us. So actually, this is a meme featuring many of our guests who have been on the Partial Credit Podcast. So we're super excited. And actually, this is not only a special episode of Partial Credit, but also a very special Pear Deck webinar because we are going to be giving away 10 copies of the book Reality Bites, Innovative Learning Using Augmented and Virtual Reality to 10 of you lucky attendees. Now, this is a book I was fortunate enough to co-author with Christine Lyon-Bailey and Micah Shippey. However, I did want to make note that while this is a current book on augmented and virtual reality, we built on the shoulders of, I don't know, giants. Maybe we kind of sat on their shoulders.
Yes.
Donnie and Jeff did contribute to the seminal pamphlet on virtual reality, the Google Cardboard book, which is pictured very much below.
Pretty sure there's
Jesse,
only four copies of it left in the world.
It took us days to write.
Yeah.
Literally days, like 2.
Yes, that's right.
What is this thing, Donnie?
All right, so we figured we'd have some fun tonight. We'll share all the slides with you afterwards, but we know a lot of teachers are watching, so you've probably experienced something during your calls with your students, or if you're an administrator, tech coach, you've probably experienced something like this. So why not, just for fun, we'll play some virtual teaching bingo tonight. If you've got it open, go ahead and take a screenshot of your screen.
Donnie, I may already have bingo for this webinar.
Yeah, is Peloton on there? I don't see that.
Next slide, please, though, we hit already.
Next slide, hello.
That's
Are you sharing your screen? Got that. So bingo, email that to everybody. But anyway,
I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. But we'll share this with you guys kind of towards the end, so that way you guys can have this. Maybe if you're sitting in your next faculty meeting, send it around, maybe give out some prizes, who knows.
So we're super excited to be debuting a new feature today. We have been Pear Deck users for a while. Risa, where did we meet? It's like things blur together, but we had a great time
met in
somewhere.
Southern California like 3 years ago at a Google Apps for Education Summit. I think Colton Joint Unify, or no.
Oh yeah, like San Bernardino-ish.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Riverside.
Somewhere.
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
Another
like
game
that.
of where in the world is Jeffery Heil?
Oh, but so we have been fans of Pear Deck. We've been working with many people from Pear Deck. So it was a perfect partnership for us to come together with them, and they've been a sponsor of our podcast for a while. And then we decided that we wanted to continue. Our podcast is, while it's educational, it's not always about ed tech. We talk about all kinds of things. And so to be able to put together some of the ed tech stuff is fun for us. So Pear Deck has been very special to all of us. And we doing the series here, Donnie kicked us off, and you can find these on Vimeo, where he talked about how to basically take an existing slide deck that he had and incorporate it into an interactive Pear Deck presentation. And then I now have a classroom of like 15 kids. I work for the San Diego County Office of Ed with the juvenile court and community schools, and I do a lot of socio-emotional learning, a lot of check-in stuff. So I took an existing mood meter check-in that I would do with my kids live and converted it to a Pear Deck that I wanted to have the students. I wanted to have the students do this student pace. And one of the things that I really wanted to do was to add some like mood music for the slides. And I knew that I could do that on my own.
Jeff, could you just add the audio right into the?
Well, see, I could add the audio, but when I pushed it out to the kids in self-paced mode, it wouldn't work. And then, like somewhere right in the middle of doing all this, we hear from Danielle, "Hey, there's a new feature. Would you guys like to talk about this new feature?" So not only, Donnie, are we going to debut a new feature, but you're going to learn how to add audio. And it's not just adding audio, because we've been able to add audio to slides before. This is the type of audio that you will add that is interactive with your students. And there's so many cool things that we can do with that. So without further ado, Donnie, perhaps you could, whatever you're doing right now.
So, so the big
moving things around. How does it work, Donnie?
How does it work, Donnie?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let me kind of show you how. It's actually really, really simple. I'm guessing that if you're on this call, you're either somewhat of a tech person, you like to see these new updates to come out, or B, you're somebody who's been maybe using Pear Deck for a while, and you kind of want to see some of these new features in action. So the way that it works is you literally just add audio with a click. So I'm going to add a quick little bit of sound to this slide right here. I've got the Pear Deck add-on and slides pushed open on the right. Scroll down a little bit, and there is over here on the right a little button that says Add Audio to Slide.
And that's actual size.
Yeah, right. So zoom in, do all that fun stuff. Anyway, so you just click the button, and it pulls up this handy dandy recorder. Don't know why I said it like this, and we'll showcase this later. But if you want to, have students record stuff separately and upload it, you can upload MP3 files separately. But if you just want to record right on the deck, I know as teachers, sometimes time can be an issue. Like you don't always have all of it or enough of it. So you just press record. Hey guys,
Donnie, this is a big deal, because when Jeff and I were talking earlier about adding audio to the slide deck, that was pre-existing audio. You couldn't actually record it as part of the actual function of adding it. You would have had to have had it pre-recorded through something else.
Yes. So Jesse, thank you for messing up my recording. So I'm going to delete this, because look, if you mess up, you just press.
Sorry, Mr. Perfectionist. I didn't realize now all of a sudden you care about the quality of your content.
I do. So I'm going to press record.
But what he doesn't care about is
my gosh,
the quality of his appearance. So I mean, I appreciate it.
Hey guys, this is how you add audio when people are trying to interrupt you.
Remember all those times that I was recording the beginning of the podcast and you would purposely interrupt me to make me start over again?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, so you'll see that it kind of shows you a little bit, sample of it, how long it was. You can download it separately if you want to add it on to something, but you just press Add Audio to Slide. And sometimes, if it's a longer file, sometimes it might take a couple of seconds. With us all being on this call and with the whole world being on the internet nowadays, the internet might be a little bit slower. But then you'll see in the top right-hand corner, it adds this little box that says Audio Included. And that's pretty much it. When you send a self-paced Pear Deck to a group of students, that audio is now included on that slide. If you want to remove the audio from the slide, you just click the box that it adds, and think of it as like you're getting rid of a shape or something that, or an image that you've added to it, and press delete, and the audio's gone. So one more time, real quick, without interruption, just to show you how easy it is to add audio. Press record.
Without what, Donnie?
Hi guys, this is Mr. Piercey. And then just press save, add to slide, and then boom, that audio is on there. It's really simple. And yeah, that's it. I wish it was more complicated than that, but it's not.
Well, and if some of you may or may not be aware, but there's a pandemic going on, and it sort of changed the way that we're doing school these days. And thinking about what we might need to be able to deliver content to our students in a way that is accessible to them and also can meet some of the accommodations. This particular feature just came out at the perfect time. So for example, we're pushing out content to kids now that would normally have delivered face-to-face. And so the facial, the eye contact, the ability to see their reactions, all of these things that we normally do in teaching that is just like second nature to us, well, we lose some of that. And so now what you can do with this feature, not only can we add, cool music, and you can add narration, but you can read the slides for kids. You could deliver very quick instructions that aren't taking up space on the slide. And what's great about this is you will see when the kids play it, once they've done it once, they see that they have a little player, the audio comes up, it's very clear that they need to push it. So they can not only get their instructions, but we can use it to ensure that we're meeting the needs of all of our kids.
Yeah,
as well as,
that
that was a dramatic pause. I was like, I had accessibility. I was waiting for them.
We were showing what a slide is like without audio, right? That's it, without sound. See, it's not as cool without sound. So, but yeah, the other big thing that you can add to it, accessibility, like Jeff talked about a second ago, but just being able to add some audio narration or additional information on top of a slideshow. I mean, I teach 5th grade, right? And there's so many times when I might send a slide deck to my students in Google Classroom. And, as much as I want to just type everything on the slide, that can be sometimes overwhelming for some students. Sometimes it's just simpler just to put some information on there and maybe some images, a couple of words, but then add my narration or my additional information kind of on top of it, just to really bring that slide to life.
Well, and the added bonus to that, Donnie, I mean, in all seriousness, is just to be able to hear your voice. You hear your teacher's voice.
Yeah,
that's very comforting.
I think remote learning, right?
Particularly through student pace mode, I would think, adding that narration, particularly to tasks you're assigning, Donnie, that'd be really great for your kids.
Well, I took that SEL, that mood meter slide deck, and I literally went in after this feature came out, and I redid it and added audio so that the kids would know exactly what to do. What do you do when you get to the end? Is it time to go next? What do you do? So it was like just in time for me, and I've had zero trouble with my kids being able to complete my expectations.
Well, it's the YouTube thing, right? It's where, hey, if you don't get it the first time, guess what? That video is still going to be on YouTube, and you can watch it over and over and over and over again. If you add a bit of audio, maybe you're telling a story through a slide, you're adding some additional information on there. It's not like after the students listen to the narration once, it goes away. It's still on there.
And I was going to say, talking about the awkward pauses and things like that, one of the things I've heard from teachers that have been doing remote learning using Pear Deck is that when they're doing tasks with students that sometimes take more than a few minutes, where they're waiting for longer writing prompts or something, that it can be a little, awkward, particularly in a remote learning setting. So, when we talk about ambient sounds or background music, or adding just even audio just to play for the sake of kind of adding more atmosphere to the slide, to the presentations you're doing, I think it's a nice addition to the functionality of what's already a really robust.
It's kind of a digital. It's a digital edition. The way that Donnie's Nat Geo buff has added ambiance to this webinar.
Wait, Nat Geo, Donnie, did you go to Antarctica?
I think
I did go to Antarctica. And there's more coming to that soon here. But the nice part about this, and we were actually playing around with this the other day, the ability to add audio. Right. I'm guessing a lot of you who are watching this webinar live through Zoom, you probably work on a team of teachers. And, the nice part about using stuff like Google Slides, Google Drive, Docs, whatever, is having the ability to collaborate. I'll work on this slide if you work on that slide. Well, we actually did a couple of test runs today, and you can actually add that audio collaboratively too. so long as every teacher who has access to the slide deck has Pear Deck, they can actually add audio to it. So Jeff and Jesse, a little bit earlier in this call, they actually went and uploaded to these 2 slides just some audio sounds. And I know, Jesse, you want to share.
I'm so excited.
You want to share what's on your slide, the audio that you've added?
Please, no. I don't. We're out of time. Thank you very much.
It's a little treat for the listening public.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to real quick add some audio to my slide without being interrupted. So we'll see how this goes. I might mute the boys on the call here, but hey, I'm just showing how you can record audio. Isn't this grand? Yay! Subscribe at partial.credit. I don't know.
It's
all right.
partial credit.
Yeah. All right. Just going to add that to it. And again, Jesse and Jeff on their ends, they've uploaded an audio file that they've recorded. Jesse's is a bit of a surprise, and Jeff's, is yours the mood meter thing that you added?
Yes, it is. Mine is a nice little relaxing music.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine too.
So as far as the audio goes, like, we wanted to show you how this can be done collaboratively. So especially as the school year comes to an end, if you're working on a team of teachers, you're trying to get stuff out to students, it doesn't necessarily have to fall on just you. You can work with your whole team to add audio and sound.
Donnie, I don't think that could be understated, or I think that's a really important point to hone in on is the fact that you literally had the slides mapped out for us. We went in separately at completely different times, added our piece directly in through Pear Deck the same way you did. There was nothing to it. Yeah. It was super easy to collaborate, just like it would. It was as seamless as it is to collaborate on any Google document. That's how easy it was to add the audio to Pear Deck.
Well, yeah, I know we'll also add to it. Often when you're sharing audio through Google or other means, you've got to make sure that the file's public, that you've changed the permissions, and uploading. You can upload any file from the computer to the audio there, and then you're not having to worry about permissions, and it just plays.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm a classroom teacher. So what does this actually look like on a Pear Deck activity, right? So I wanted to show you all real quick, just an activity I did with my class last week. So we were doing some creative writing with Pear Deck, right? And the idea behind the assignment was, on the first slide, it was me, there was no Pear Deck content on this particular slide. It was just me talking, it was just a blank slide where it was saying, that this activity was put together. Like Jesse and Jeff mentioned, I was given the privilege of going to Antarctica with National Geographic last year, which was really
I'm trying
cool.
to bite my tongue, but I just have to say, I was busted for saying Peloton twice, and I've had to hear Antarctica 100,000 times in the past, like, a year and a half. So just throwing that out there.
Okay. Anyway, so I got to go. Now I'm understanding why you wanted me to wear this thing, so you could make fun of me. But anyway.
We would have done that anyway.
That's true. So
okay.
the Pear Deck activity that I had my students do was when I was in Antarctica, 100,001, Jesse, there you go.
You went?
I did. I uploaded some 360 imagery to Google Earth, right? So, there's me down there.
In Antarctica with penguins, to be clear.
So
yeah, okay.
It was summertime in Antarctica. But I had my students examine this 360 photo. And after they examined it for a while, it was meant to be a sensory writing activity. What if you could write a paragraph describing what somebody saw? The first thing I was going to have them do was to draw anywhere on that slide, like what's some images that you saw that you could write about. I had couple of students draw an iceberg. A couple of them drew, like my friend Daniel, who's standing there in the center of the screen. Some of them drew the penguins, the icebergs. But on this slide, they kind of just drew things that help them help them write a paragraph later. And then on this final slide, this was the slide where we had a Pear Deck entry where they were meant to type in text just their paragraph describing, what this scene looks like. If they were standing there, how would they describe it to somebody? Well, here's the thing, though, right? That was fun. The kids loved it. But at the end of the day, having the ability to add audio to that activity makes it so much more meaningful, but it can also do a lot of the other things that we were talking about earlier as far as accessibility, adding ambient sounds. So on this first slide, I actually went and recorded audio for just reading the instructions that are on there. And I just added a little arrow. When you guys see this activity here in a minute, I added this little arrow down here where it'll show you where to click to press play. On this slide, I actually added some ambient sounds in the background. I brought along a recorder, and I actually grabbed some audio sounds of penguins walking by.
So to be clear, by recorder, you were not talking about the elementary school instrument. You were talking about something that recorded.
Yes, we had a jolly fiefdom, playing our recorders on the deck of the Explorer. But I added, right, just to kind of bring this slide to life a little bit, I actually added some audio that I recorded just to bring that image to life. So background noise, ambient sounds. On this slide, if you notice, I don't have any audio recorded yet. I'm actually just going to record it right now. But I'm going to pretend that maybe when students see this slide, they don't necessarily fully understand what it's asking them to do. So I'm just going to press audio, add audio, and I'm going to give a little bit of additional information for this. So I'm just going to press record. Hey, all, on this slide, go ahead and take one more look at that Google Earth image. Look around and imagine if you were standing in that spot. What would you see? What would you feel? What would you hear? Even maybe what could you taste? And go ahead and draw them in those three little boxes there. And you're going to use those later to write your creative writing paragraph, your sensory paragraph for the assignment. Kind of stumbled there at the end, right? But anyway, I'm just going to press save, and I'm going to go ahead and add that audio file to the slide. Adds additional information. Kid doesn't understand the assignment. It's now included on there. I'm going to slide that down so that way it's not covering up the instructions. All right. And then for this last slide, I just read the instructions one more time. Okay. So, excuse me. What we're going to do now is I see that we've got 33 people in on the call. So it's an odd number. You had your money on that. We're actually going to have you all join this Pear Deck session asynchronously, right? In other words, we're going to pretend that you are students that are remote learning, and we're going to send this lesson to you. We're going to do this as a student-paced activity. Now, there's a few ways that we can have y'all join this. The easy way, since you're all in the Zoom call, is I'm actually going to paste this link in the chat. But you can also go to the you can also go to joinpd.com and kind of type in the code there, which the code it is NTVOE. But really, I'm just going to grab this link, and I'm going to jump back into, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to share this to, can I share this with everybody? I don't know if I can, oh, panelists and attendees.
Should be able to.
So I'm going to share this kind of into the call. And if you are watching, click over in the chat window, and then you'll be able to kind of walk through our Pear Deck, including Jesse's special music that he put at the start.
Well, and that the add to classroom feature, I use all of the time. I just love the ability to create in Pear Deck and just send that right to my class.
Yep. All right. So now what we're going to do, and by the way, you've got to kind of scroll through if you want to hear some audio. The activity, it starts on slide 15. So if you want to kind of hop through there. The Pear Deck code, in case you didn't see it, oops, it's NTVOE, excuse me. And I guess what we can do now, guys, is we can have people. Jesse, you said you wanted to do a running commentary on some of the comments and stuff that come in.
Well, Jesse, I don't know that many of you know this, but he also was when he was little, he wanted nothing more than to be a commentator at the dog shows. And I do believe that the world's largest dog show is in his home state of New York. And so,
Is that true?
Jesse,
you're never too old to try to hit those goals from when you were younger, Jeff.
I know. I think just keep dreaming, Jesse. I still think there's a possibility that you will be at that dog show.
Donnie, have you ever heard Benedict Cumberbatch say penguins?
Yes, it's really funny, actually, because he can't say penguins. He says penguins. It's
Penguins.
really not that funny.
No, I love it, though.
Yeah. But all right. So we're starting to see some of the audio and stuff kind of come in here. I know that some of you might be kind of skipping around on the slide. Again, in case you can't see it, if you want to hear some of the audio files play, you can jump down to it's in the bottom right-hand corner, any of the slides that have the audio on it. I see that. Hey, Susan, I see you in the call. I didn't know you were on there. There you go. All of our friends are hopping in. This is fun. Now hey, Susan, can you type hi, Jeff, or something?
Oh, wait.
I don't know.
Who did whose penguin is that? Linda.
There's Mary Ellen. Oh, look, see Mary Ellen. She gets the gold star.
Mary Ellen.
I like Linda's penguin. Wait, could you zoom into that, please?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
She's actually doing it. You get a gold star.
I know. It's an actual, and I think this is one of my favorite things when I like showing this live. I like looking. I'm a little bit worried about Christina's penguin.
This is a G-rated webinar.
It could be, yeah. It could be a witch's hat. You never know.
PG.
Oh, right. Kyle! Look at Kyle busting out the camera. I like that.
Yeah, but anyway, so part of the cool, the great part about adding audio and stuff to these files, it definitely, as a teacher, sometimes it's almost like a safety net, where it's like, well, I think my instructions are clear, but I need to I just want to make sure that everything that I want to cover is on here, right? And for maybe that, if you think about students with IEPs, students who sometimes, like you were mentioning, Jeff, just need to hear your voice.
Well, and the ability, like when I do slides, I try to minimize the text on slides, but that's a fine line between being very clear on what your expectations are and getting the information across in a way that isn't just overloaded with text. So this, to me, does the two things. It allows me to avoid putting too much text on there, but also give clear instructions. And I like the ability for the student to be able to replay it. If you notice, there was you've got the player that you can control that, and I just think that feature is one of my absolute favorites.
And Jeff, you're right. I think there's definitely a need to shift away from having too much text. I mean, since we're doing all this remote learning using a lot of slides and visual content, just adding an overwhelming amount of information as far as instructions go isn't serving anyone. So being able to just put your instructions in an audio format while keeping the visuals neat and clean is definitely a really great use of the tool.
Well, and that's the accessibility and accommodation piece too, because maybe not everyone, like Donnie read that one slide all the way through for the kids. Not every kid needs that. So you don't have to, it's not looping. That's what I like about the audio here. At first you're thinking, oh, I wish it would just start. Well, no, we're giving, the kids, once they do this once, now they understand how they can go in and they can control what they need. If they need to hear the audio instructions, they can hear them. If they don't need the audio instructions, like I believe it was Linda in that penguin, she just went, like, she started going, and that, but of course, Mary Ellen probably needs a little bit more help.
All right, class. So if you haven't, if you haven't done it yet, I know it's really fun drawing penguins, and that is the National Geographic Explorer, not the Titanic, Kyle. But go ahead and switch over to the audio, the paragraph slide. Let's just kind of get some of those dropped in there. Another thing I was thinking about, right? If you want to work even with typing skills, comprehension skills. I know we've got a lot of elementary school teachers that just from names that I recognize kind of on this call. You could open up a blank slide, just read a story or describe something, have no text at all, maybe just one image, and have your audio just be giving a simple prompt. No text, no nothing, just only your voice and having students respond to it. I mean,
and you could, and also think about the fact if you've got, in the state of California, 30% of our students are language learners. So maybe the audio that you're adding is in another language. So you've got the ability to deliver the text maybe in English and translate it into Spanish or vice versa. So there's just the, and I don't even know that was like thought out completely because we're not the engineers, but all of the advantages that come from adding this ability. And it's not just putting on audio, but what you did see is how easy it was. You're not uploading a file. You can record your voice. You can, if you've got files sitting on the computer, and just as a Google user continuously, the fact that I don't have to make sure that I've changed the permissions on it and deal with that. Once the audio's in, it's in. You can very clearly tell that it's in because it's got that audio added in the upper right-hand corner by default. You see that there's a link there, and I think the link says "Do not touch" or Risa will take away your privileges. I'm not sure. It says something like that.
Every single time she goes in, she does it. Yeah.
Individually.
In order for you to add audio to a slide traditionally in Google Drive, you actually have to have it uploaded to Drive before you can add it into the file. The cool thing about Pear Deck's function is you can just add right off your desktop. So you don't actually have to upload it to Drive and follow all the steps. It's as seamless as just finding it on your computer and uploading it and not having to go through all those extra steps.
The least amount of clicks, the less amount of clicks that it takes, the easier it is to use, right? And so, I know on this call, a lot of times on these webinars, you might have like the super techie people, right? But again, you saw, we wanted to demo live how to do this because it's literally just 2 clicks. You click Pear Deck, the little icon, and then you click record. That's
hey, Donnie, what's up with your hair? Asking for a friend.
Okay, you guys told me to wear this, okay?
I'm just reading the comments. I am just reading the comments.
Because you listen to us all the time. Now you're going to blame us for the one time you listen to us.
I'm a rule follower, so I'm just doing what I'm told. Thank you. See, she likes my hair. Thank you. See, I think it looks great.
Okay,
right.
I like Diana's piece.
I like your Jeff, and I wanted to talk on that ESL piece a little bit more, right? I think that's especially if you're in a school that has either a high or a low population of students who are ESL. You could collaborate on this slide deck with the ESL teacher in the school, have them record, the translation, multiple languages, easy, just have it kind of all play in a row. And I think that is something which, again, I'm literally just thinking here on the fly, but that's something which will be invaluable for educators going forward. And again, you share it, you click the button, and boom, you've got it translated.
And I do want to note on Carol's response here that I do believe that was the line that Donnie was the first one in his memoir of his trip to Antarctica. It was, they just scrolled past it, but it was something like glistening penguins on the,
they were actually, fun fact, in that photo,
Carol,
there's actually,
up a little bit more, Risa, or Donnie,
I want to share a story. There's actually, if you look in the water, it's kind of way off in the distance. There's actually a leopard seal that's moving up and down. And the reason many of the penguins are walking along.
Are you sure that's not Jesse in his Peloton outfit?
No, I just want to point out that Donnie going to Antarctica is just the new Jeff went to Australia and New Zealand. So
I've been there too. So
the circle of life, right?
Okay,
so
anyway.
Please.
Be quiet. Anyway. All right, so tell you what, I know we've got about 6-7 minutes left. So
Before you do that, I just want to make sure audio works, because we've been talking the whole time, but we haven't seen. I know you audio through here. Why don't you test it out by going to my slide? No, go to my slide.
All right. Hang on. Let me go.
I didn't go through all the work of converting this for us not to be able to hear this.
I'll go there the fun way. Joinpd.com, and then NPVOE will go that way. All right, so Jesse just wants me to play because this is a very special episode.
But not that music. I don't care about the special episode music. I like that too.
No, I want to play. Yeah, I think it'll come through.
That's our very special episode music. But can you go to the slide where you asked us to add audio?
Or
Okay.
not, or
No,
not. I
I
mean,
wish
it's
I
totally.
kept the secret of what it was, and Jeff didn't know, but the listeners don't know what it is.
Well, do you want to clue us in? What are we listening to here?
So you asked me to add audio to a slide, and I just wanted to show how easy it was. I had an MP3 on my computer. Just a random.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
No, you
that I
didn't.
wanna make her. Cause she's watching him with those eyes. And she's loving him with that body, I just know it. And he's holding her in his arms late at night. You know, I wish that I had Jesse's chest. Jesse's chest.
If you guess Jeff Heil at a dive bar singing karaoke in Indiana, you win the prize. That's what that is.
I
man.
was channeling my inner Rick Springfield, and I did it for you.
Hey, Jeff, I think, Jesse, can you send me that file? Because I really want that to be my ringtone.
What if I
from
told
now
you?
on.
What if I told you that it wasn't audio? It was video.
Oh, man, that's great fun. All righty. So I know we're kind of coming up on here. But hey, fun fact, did you know you can make custom Bitmojis? There you go. Follow me on Twitter to learn how to do that. But anyway, so I know we wanted to take about 5 minutes here at the end because you're coming up on it. As far as questions go, I cannot see the questions because I don't have the chat window open, but
That's why we're paying Risa. Isn't she the
I'm here for you. Mhm.
paying her in karaoke, right?
in gold? No, in Tap Sports Gold.
Right.
Well, while people fire up their add audio questions, everybody wants to know, is that a Fountain Diet Coke?
That is a Fountain Diet Coke. I did make the trip to Mickey D's before. Before Peloton, as a treat for after Peloton.
Oh, man, I hope you Peloton long enough to burn all those soda calories. Let's see here.
Fruit patio. Such a nerd.
So far, you guys did, I just want to say you did so much justice to the explanation and explaining all the different ways that it can be valuable. It kind of looks like people don't have a ton of questions, but again, if you do have questions right now, we're taking them live. So go ahead and drop them in the chat and we will answer them for you.
If not, I think, while we're waiting, I think that Jeff should karaoke some more songs.
Well, I was
Taking
actually
requests.
going to ask for recommendations on where one might go get his eyebrows waxed. Just asking for a friend, Donnie Piercey.
Oh my gosh, at least I have
I was
hair.
actually afraid that was directed
At least I have
toward me
hair.
for a second.
No, Jesse, you guys, I'm sorry that Jesse shaved his beard because it looked like he had a skunk on there for the last 2 months.
It was kind of frightening, actually.
It was
It
more
was a
like
little
a
frightening.
like a badger.
It was kind of badger-esque.
So Mary Ellen's question is, can Jeff sing for us?
Mary Ellen, I could sing for you, yes, but I think it wouldn't be fair to my co-hosts to be the one, the only one that's singing. And truth be told, that song, it's Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield, and it was at an ed tech event where Jesse was supposed to be there and couldn't be there. And so that was a tribute song to
No, I was
my
there.
dearest friend. You were not there.
Oh, okay.
You were not there. I sang that song for you because you could not be there.
How did he record
This is
it
the way
if he
you treat
wasn't
me.
there?
No, Jess Laux recorded it. That's where he got that recording. I know.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what it gets, Risa. You know what? You sing a tribute song for your friends, and it comes back on a Pear Deck webinar.
As mockery, no.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yes.
just seems wrong. Seems wrong.
I'm so,
I did want to add
I'm
that
with you.
the three of us as a podcast, we've been a huge fan of the Pear Deck product for a long time. So we've been really excited to be able to participate and do these webinars for a product that we really believe in and that we know makes a real difference, in particular in this remote learning setting. So we've been really excited to have them as a sponsor of our podcast, and then in turn also be able to share the things we love about it with. There will not be a sing-off, audience people. Sorry.
I can do It's the End of the World as We Know It from start to finish. That's like my.
But
favorite
I
song.
feel fine.
That's
Jeff, I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but I was in North Carolina with Donnie once, And we were driving, and P. Diddy came on, and you haven't lived until you've heard Donnie do full P. Diddy songs in the car. It's
Was it all about the Benjamins or No
it
Money,
was all
No
about
Problem?
the Benjamins. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
I can do. Yeah.
So just quick shout out for the podcast. You can actually check us out at partial.credit or on Twitter and Instagram at partialcredited. I was about to thank our sponsor, Pear Deck, but we're actually on right now.
Jeff, why don't you
Thanks to
go ahead
our
and do the promo?
sponsor, Pear Deck. But I hope this webinar not only gave you some real insight into how great the new Add Audio tool is, but what you could expect if you give us a listen. It really isn't that much different than what you just heard. But thanks for having us.
Well, I also think, Risa, you were saying, that we did a good job explaining it. I think more than anything, the tool is so simple.
Absolutely.
That it doesn't really need much explanation. And I would assume by the amazing questions asked by the people that are here that they've used Pear Deck before. So just like the simple, now I can add audio, and then just giving you a few ideas. So technically it is very simple. One of the things I like that Donnie did was, adding, when you're first using it for the first time, realizing to click there in the bottom, that Donnie very cleverly added that little arrow. But I think it's something that we all do, just leveraging the shapes and the sounds. And
I think what Jeff's trying to say is it's so simple that even the three of us
even
up explaining it.
Yeah, even a partial credit host could do it. That's what I was sort of impressed with.
Well, you guys are incredible, and this is just such a fun time to be together talking about Pear Deck or Peloton or Antarctica or karaoke, all the things. It's really the best. Thank you guys so much for talking about Pear Deck today and letting me join. And I just want to say, anytime you want to invite me back, I will totally hang out with you guys again. So thank you so much. We are doing a book giveaway for Jesse's book. Winners will be announced tomorrow.
I should add, just for the winners, please, when you get the book, scan the back cover with your phone, the QR code, and then check out the front. It is fully AR enabled. We're really excited about it.
Thank you guys so much for talking about Pear Deck today and letting me join. And I just want to say, anytime you want to invite me back, I will totally hang out with you guys again.